to the third item on the agenda of today's program, which is the introduction of the stars of the show, that is the governorship candidates of Kano State. Without further ado, I'll go straight ahead and do that. We're introducing them in the order of their alphabetical of their political parties. This is why we agreed that, okay, because it's very sensitive, the idea of who comes first, who comes second, and third is very sensitive. So name or middle name or last name, we decided that, okay, we will use the alphabetical order of the political parties, which is relatively less controversial. So I'm starting this introduction with the candidate, the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Nasir Yusuf Gawuna. Please, you're welcome, sir. Next is the governorship candidate of the Labour Party, Engineer Bashir I. Bashir. You're welcome, sir. Next is the governorship candidate of the NNPP, Engineer Abba Kabir Yusuf. Unfortunately, we received a last-minute notification that he has had to attend to an event outside of the country, but his space remains here. And then finally, we have the governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Muhammad Abacha. A round of applause, please. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me call on you to give the candidates a round of applause, all of them. It's not easy to stand before not just Kano State, but to stand before Nigeria, and indeed the world, because this event is being covered throughout our channels, so anyone, anywhere, at any point on planet Earth can view or listen. And then again, without further ado, we will go to the next item on the agenda, which is the debate proper. But before we start, let me introduce some of the rules and regulations of the debate. The major rules and regulations were earlier sent to the candidates, so we believe they are mainly familiar with them. But for the benefit of the audience, both here as well as at home, let me repeat some. Today's debate will be between the two. Each candidate will have 3 minutes to answer the opening question. Candidates will have 2 minutes each to answer subsequent questions. We thought instead of having 200 questions, candidates 30 seconds to answer each question, and then audiences will not be able to make sense of what they are saying. We thought it is better to ask fewer questions but in depth, so that the candidates have an opportunity to explain in depth their thinking and their plans for the state. Candidates will also have 1 minute each to give a rebuttal or to respond to issues raised by other candidates. Each candidate will have 1 minute to give a closing statement. Audiences are not allowed to speak. However, at the end of the event, we may take up to 3 questions from audience members. Please, we implore the audience to cheer the candidates as much as they want, but also not to cause disruptions. It is very important that audience members allow this debate to flow. What is important here is not the sound bites, but for the people of Kano State, and indeed for Nigerians to get the opportunity to hear from every candidate here their thinking about and their plans for Kano State. So as much as you clap, please, when you do that, know that we're not here for only the claps. We're here to hear what the candidates have to say. Thank you very much. That's for the audience. For the candidates themselves, we are confident that the convivial manner between them, the fact that they all represent a new generation of politicians in Nigeria is more than enough to ensure that they'll go about this debate in a mature and friendly manner as behalf of their positions as leaders of the state. Because no matter what happens, you're already leaders in your respective rights. Thank you. So the questions for today's event have been generated through a series of online surveys that were hosted on our websites, and then they were vetted by an independent panel. But the final question are known only to me. So when I read them out, they will be the first time anyone anywhere has heard of them, at least to the extent that my computer and my printing was not hacked at any time between last night and this morning. Thank you very much. So, round one. Before round one, yes. Yes. Before round one, and then answer the question of who they are and why they want the people of Kano State to vote for them. So for that, I will start again. In the alphabetical manner that we agreed with the candidate of the All Progressive Party, Dr. Nasir Yusuf Gawuna. Thank you, sir.
That we are doing this. But because I think this is the first time we are doing it in English. As demanded, my name is Nasir Yusuf Gawuna. I was born some 55 years ago in Gawuna. I did my primary and secondary education in Kano State, and then proceeded to Usman Danfodio University, Sokoto, where I obtained my bachelor's degree in the National Electoral Commission for some time, and then joined the services of Kano State Hospital Management Board, the chairman of Nasarawa local government 2 times, and then, as fate will have it, I continue with my political career, where finally I am now the Deputy Governor of Kano State. Why I said it, that my contest is by Allah's will, and I have the requisite experience, not by my design, but because God has destined it for me to be that. I've been a local government chairman. I have served my people, and I know what I have done, and my people know, and the people of Kano State too knows what I have done in my own local government, in those areas that has been mandated for the local government chairman to do. I served then as a local government chairman under the lead for 2 terms. I have the requisite experience as a local government chairman and as a grassroots man. And I have brought a lot of innovations and community service, which are the major responsibilities of the local government. I also found myself to be under the leadership of His Excellency Engineer Rabi Musa Konkoso, where I served as the Commissioner for Agriculture, Commissioner, and now as the Deputy Governor. If I combine the experience that I have, I want to be humble enough to say that I have the requisite experience, and by God, in all the positive things in these governments, and avoid the mistakes of those governments. And I think I'm only here. Thank you.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Bashir Ishaq Bashir. And like the synopsis of my biodata says, I'm an engineer by profession. I'm a certified project manager, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. My first degree is in mechanical engineering. My second degree is in gas engineering and management. I also hold a postgraduate diploma in finance for non-financial managers. Where you have a pyramid structure of the best of my team. 3, given timelines for all projects and making sure that those timelines have deliverables and they are tied down to time frame. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for him. Especially for keeping to time. We appreciate if all the other candidates will keep to time in like manner. So now we come to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Muhammad Abacha. Who are you, and why should the voters in Kano State vote for you in this election?
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. First and foremost, I want to thank the organizers of Media Trust for giving us the opportunity to showcase ourselves here and to tell the people of Kano who we are and what we intend to do. My name is Mohammed Sana Abacha. I was born 55 years ago. Happened to be the age mate of the Deputy Governor himself. Oh, I'm your elder brother, thank you. And I've gone through primary, secondary, and also university. I studied law in university. Alhamdulillah, after that, I've been in the business world and been very busy in so many projects and also building industries. One of the main reasons why I stand here before all of you and before my people of Kano State is to bring the difference. For more than 20 years plus, we have been blessed with democracy, but we are yet to physically see, physically witness, and touch the dividends of democracy. And unfortunately, there's been so much talk, but a lot of the action is not there. People are, up till this moment, not enjoying a lot of the benefits they should have enjoyed a long time ago. Luckily for us, Nigeria is a rich country, and importantly also, Kano is a very rich country. We have no business being poor, and we have no business not giving our kids the best education, giving our kids and our junior ones work to do, and a lot more. The basis of Kano State is commerce and industry and predominantly agriculture. And that alone is enough to sustain Kano, to give it what it needs, and to also ensure that Kano people are properly catered for and taken care of. The elderly, most importantly, the women and the children. In agriculture alone, we can employ several 100,000 youths, if not even more than 1 million. Luckily, the past governments have done well in building most of the infrastructure, but have not taken the infrastructure to the desired goal. Today in Kano we have so many dams, but a lot of them are just there and they are not properly utilized. And we don't have the dry season farming benefits for our people to enjoy and to keep them within the rural areas and to keep them busy. Coming back also, one of the reasons why I want to take charge of Kano is education. Kano is one of the most backward educated states in Nigeria. And I firmly believe if action is taken on it, a lot of our young ones, and interestingly the ones who have not gotten the opportunity, also will have the opportunity to get at least reasonably educated. But we need to give our kids and our junior ones the best education that they need. Today, like I said in my previous outing, yes, health is most important for all of us. A healthy society is what we need to become productive and to bring the benefits that we require for our people. I appreciate it. Thank you. God bless you.
Yeah. Please do not mind. This moderating a debate is as much a journalistic activity as any other. So I will try as much as I can to be fair to all the candidates in terms of the amount of time that everyone is allowed to speak. But I also hope that the candidates will be fair to me and the audience by sticking to the time limit allotted. Thank you. So we start the debate proper now. Round one, economic policy in Kano State in 2023 election. My very first question is this. Kano is the second largest state by population and volume of commercial activities in Nigeria. Yet, in terms of internally generated revenue, Kano is only the 9th, behind Lagos, Abuja, Rivers, Ogun, Delta, Oyo, and even Edo State. What are your plans for growing Kano State IGR over the next 4 years? Thank you very much. This, again, we start with you, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kano State and candidate of the APC.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it's a fact that the statute allocation and the IGR of the state cannot meet the demand of projects and governance in the running of government affairs. And definitely, there is the need for improving that. We will ensure, if elected, inshallah, the use of technologies and also prioritize the revenue drive operations. That is by blocking leakages and bringing innovations. We will explore other areas of tax revenue, which at the moment are not being addressed. We will ensure that tax from commercial land use acts, land charges, and employees are properly charged and remitted. Taxpayers' money are used in programs with bearing on the populace, and we should allow the people to know that taxpayers' money are going to be properly utilized. We will also continue to motivate and reward personnel for a job well done in that aspect. We will also encourage the issue of commerce. Majorly Kano, the business communities in Kano are majorly traders. The issue of industrialization, I have sat down with the business community, of Kano business community, and we have discussed. I have asked them how many of them have industries. So we'll design a way whereby they will be able to produce instead of majorly going to buy. By so doing, we'll be able to improve their revenue, we'll also generate employment, thereby improving the economy of the state. And that will be utilized in doing a lot of things that will bring about increase in the economic activities of Kano State.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you. So, Engineer Bashir, how would you raise the revenue of Kano State in the next 4 years, beyond the current level?
You see, when you approach a problem from the perspective of a businessman, you tend to, now the challenges we have, and I always insist that it is not about lack of money. Like my brother, Alhaji Muhammad has mentioned, I think it's the management, effective management and utilization and prioritization of the funds available to the government. Now, number one, there's what you call generic template, which most of our state governors in the north adopt. What I think is important for Kano as a commercial center, or what it used to be, as we speak now, we have over 550 industries that are closed. Majorly because of lack of power supply. In my first 100 days, we'll make sure that we sign a power project, an EPC contract for generating 100 megawatt power plant, which will be a captive power plant situated in Sharada, Bompai, and Chalawa. We'll start with a 50 megawatt power plant, which will be dual fuel fired. Now, that will give you a quantum leap once you have major industries operating. It will make sure that the number of industries and the products that comes about from there will expand your revenue base. And we'll also make sure that the issue of using consultants is carefully and structurally checked, because you have a lot of leakages in that area. We'll pursue agriculture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Maybe the candidates, you may not bother. There is someone standing behind you to help pass the mic around. And we would like to apologize at this point. We actually got these table mics. Unfortunately, technology tends to have this problem with failing when you need it the most. So we're having issues with them. But there is someone standing behind you who will be making the rounds to pass the mics from one candidate. So maybe you need to pay a bit more attention so that you can do that quickly as soon as they finish. Thank you. So we come to the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Abacha, Muhammad Abacha. How do you plan to raise the internally generated revenue of Kano State? Currently it's at 40 billion, but states like Rivers, Abuja all have above 100. How do you hope to raise it for the people of Kano State? Thank you.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I think the solution has to be different. Lagos gets a monthly income, internal generated revenue over 50 billion. Interestingly, Kaduna today has more monthly income than Kano, which is over 5 billion naira. The economic activities in Kaduna are nowhere compared to what we have in Kano. So like my brother said, it is one out of or two, lack of collection and also leakages somewhere. But the important part is how do you work outside the box? Working outside the box gives you the opportunity. For you to get internally generated revenue, you have to create the value chain that will give you what you need. Like my brother said, we intend, God willing, when we come in, to leverage on the AKK pipeline to bring in a 500 megawatt power plant that will give Kano what it needs. Any state or any country that doesn't have industries that produce what it requires will not make progress. Like in the agricultural part, we have all these dams. You have to invest in them, and additionally also bring power to them to get the pumps that will pump water from one level to another to ensure that our people get water to farm. If you don't create the value chain that will give you the monthly income that you desire, it will be most unfortunate. It will not give you what you need. Additionally, when you come to the commercial aspect, which is commerce, our people are very good at that. We import, we produce, and we make sure that at least Kano keeps its name as the commercial hub of the country. But the truth is, we need to do something different, something unique, something beneficial for our people, inshallah.
Thank you very much. I think we would like to see a friendly debate, but maybe it's too friendly. We would like to see friendly punches thrown at each other as well. So maybe we can start. Your Excellency, the Engineer Bashir, and also Alhaji Muhammad both have said that they would like to build power plants. One side 50 megawatts, the other focused specifically for industries, and the other 500 megawatts for everyone else. You have been in government in the last 5 years at the highest level of government, because you are number 2 in Kano State in the last 5 years. So if anyone will know whether this is possible or not, you would know. How feasible is that from a practical governance point of view? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think if I will agree to or refer to what my brother Bashir has said, is recently His Excellency Mr. President commissioned the largest solar plant in the country. That is the 10 megawatt solar plant which we launched recently. And it is entirely going to be used by the people of Chalawa. The state government inherited the 10 megawatt hydroelectric power project by the former administration, and it has been completed. It was meant to be commissioned that day, but it was late. That was why Mr. President couldn't fly to the venue. But it's completed, and so it's going to be used. So you see, Kano, we have already done 20 megawatts. And so making 50 megawatts or even more is obtainable, and that is part of our power and energy renewal. Renewable energy is what is the in thing at the moment. The AKK project is the project that is close to the heart of the government of Kano State, and I've been part of it to actualize it. And already the pipeline is almost close to Kano State. And coincidentally, my brother is also a consultant who is consulting for us on the issue of the AKK. Thank you.
I think I will start throwing the punches. Okay.
I have to stop you, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. So thank God our mics are back now, so the candidates can just speak, and the mics they have on them will work, hopefully. So again, I saw you also nodding, Alhaji Muhammad. I don't know if you want to respond to either Engineer Bashir or the Deputy Governor. Yes.
Like I said again, I commend what the government is doing, though grossly inadequate. 10 megawatts or 35 megawatts is nothing to give you what you require in a state like Kano. We have over 20 million people. Our power requirements are huge. That is why I said we need a 500 megawatt power plant to give Kano all what it needs. It gives everyone the opportunity to come back into Kano, set up industry. It is a commercial base, commercial hub. Without power, all what you require or what you want to achieve will be unfortunate, unachievable. Power is a requirement in the life we live today that no one can dispense with. So I think, and I know, it is a requirement that needs to get everyone back into business and take our kids off the street, off drugs, and off all these unfortunate issues that we witness every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the candidates. Please, a round of applause for all of them. Thank you. So our second question, still on the economy. How do you intend to upgrade Kano markets to meet requirements and demands of modern business and in growing the economy in this state? How do you plan to upgrade the markets in Kano? You have literally markets everywhere, but they remain traditional markets rather than modern markets. So how do you plan to grow the markets in a way that will respond to the demands of business in a 21st century Nigeria and Africa?
Well, I don't know whether you have visited the markets recently. There are those markets that are still traditional, but there are some markets that have been transformed. And transformation in this kind of issues or markets has to be gradual, because there is going to be a lot of challenges. Simple development programs will cause a lot of challenges, either from the people in the markets or the people of the opposition that are not positive in their criticism. People should criticize what they think is positive, because whatever you're going to do as a government, if you want to govern, if you are there, because this is something that is destined by God, if you are there, you will also be criticized. But if you criticize positively, by the time you are there, then we all join hands and see that the development is there. The quarry market has already started being developed. There are areas too, other markets that we are doing that. The Kano market is there now. And we are asking our people, it's the largest in Africa, the Kano market. It has started since the administration of Malam Ibrahim Shekaro. Nobody couldn't finish it. But the political will of this government came, and we have done. Already we have finished. The pharmaceutical market is there, and people are going to move there. There are other areas too. The telephone markets, the shops are already springing and are already close to finishing. They will move there. So these marketers, our people, the traders, they have to come and sit down with the government and agree that they have to modernize. You cannot force somebody to do what he did not intend to do, but the policies of the government, the commitment, and how we approach them. We are doing that. At the moment, I have sat down with them and I have promised them that God's willing, we are going to bring about that. 24 hours markets will spring, malls and everything, inshallah. But at the top of it, let them be producers too. Let them be
Thank you.
able to
I
produce,
will have to
no
stop
matter how
at this
single,
point.
how
Yes.
small something it is, so that the economy will prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So how do we plan to upgrade Kano markets to respond to the demands of modern business?
I think I will throw another punch before answering that.
Yes.
It's common knowledge that all the markets in Kano, virtually all of them are in court with the state government because of two things. Number one, when you want to make policy or fundamental policy changes or implementation, you involve stakeholders. And number two, there should be utmost transparency. These two things have contributed greatly to in the retrogression of businesses in these markets. All of us are witnesses that we've had fire incidences in virtually all these markets. There is not one single market where you can go now and drive freely because this market have been decimated. Now, how do we do this? I think it has to be private sector driven, not government sector driven. Government should only be a regulator. Once you do this, and once the people see honesty and transparency in it, I think you will have their buy-in. Thank you.
So, Alazi Mohammed, how do you plan to grow, upgrade Kano markets in order to grow the economy, considering the fact that markets are central to Kano State, particularly the metropolis? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The weight that is on the markets today is far beyond what the markets can carry. Sabongari market, the Kwari market, the population, the quantum of people that go in and out, and a lot more. Like you said, they're all old and outdated. They need to be upgraded to international standards to prevent fire, to prevent theft, and to prevent all, or as much as possible, natural disasters from happening. These are the livelihoods of our people. And most of our people are market people. They need as much as possible to get protection. So the markets, a lot of them need to be rebuilt. They need to be redesigned. New markets need to be built elsewhere to accommodate new entrants into the commercial sector. And like my brother said, the private sector needs to come in and support. The government cannot do everything for all of us. Thank you very much.
So I think we can proceed to the next question straightforwardly, still on the economy. You want to, okay, please, 1 minute. Yes.
The clarification I want to give is, which market has taken Kano State to the courts? All the cases in the court has been settled. And who said that it's Kano State government that own the shops? The shops are being owned by private peoples. It's not government that even build the shops. Private partners, and most of them, they are the traders in the market. They are the first people, that are supposed to be contacted, and they are the ones who said there are no roads in Kwari market. This is the first one that has been started by this government. There are roads, there is fire station, there is police station, there is a mosque. I thought my brother will not do blind punches. We should do open punches. If you had something on the radio, I thought my brother also knows the facts about these things. There are things that will be mentioned by people you don't know. But you go and check. Maybe he has not gone to Kwari Market of recent. He should find the roads that has been done with street lights, with gates, with security cameras. They are all there. Even from here now, you can send somebody to find out. And the market has been secured. And that is what the business people need.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we move forward, or you want to clarify the clarification? Thank you, please. 1 minute. Yes.
Recently, we had the heaviest flood in the history of Korea market. And number one culprit was buildings on the waterways of those markets. Personally, I visited there. All presidential candidates came there and gave donations. You see, the issue is when something is wrong, it is wrong. And this is a general idea. And I will want Daily Trust to conduct a survey and find out what actually is on the ground. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I will clarify on the flood.
Okay.
He has not spoken about the flood.
10 seconds, sir. 10
Yes.
seconds. And then from there, we
About
move
the
to the
flood.
next question. Yes,
Myself and the governor were there. And the governor said, who gave the permission for these people to build? He even made a course that Allah is in a wonder DA one. And we send a committee and do your investigation and findings that all those buildings were being destroyed now because it was done without the consent of the government.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No, we're moving forward. We're
see,
no.
If the government, please, one second, please, 1 second.
No.
If the government knows,
we
then
have
they
to
are
move
wrong.
forward.
If they don't know,
We have to move forward.
then they have
Trust me, we
abdicated
to
their
move forward.
responsibility.
We have to move forward. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please, when I say we have to move forward, know that there's nothing personal. We are entirely fair to everyone, but we also have to move forward to other questions. Thank you very much. Yeah. But the punching and counter punch is actually good for the debate. Yes. So we move to the next question. Still 2 more questions before we finish this part. I would like the audience members to know that while this debate is going on in English, there's a live commentary and analysis that is going on simultaneously in several channels in Kano in Hausa language, so that a lot more people can follow the debate beyond the English audience. Thank you. So our third question. Farming is the main occupational activity in 36 out of the 44 local government areas in Kano State. What are your plans for farmers in the state in terms of access roads, storage facilities, fertilizer, improved seeds, and modern farming equipment? How do you want to move agriculture forward in Kano State over the next 4 years? Thank you.
As the former Commissioner of Agriculture, we have built over 250 kilometers of roads linking markets to the rural, to the urban areas. This we do because we want to improve the market linkages between our farmers and the markets. The issue of Kano State Agro-Pastoral Development Project has done a lot. We have spoken about irrigation. The irrigation sector now is going to see it very well, is going to see it very good. The Trimin partnership with Kano State government now is evident. Anybody can pass through Zaria Road and see the green have started coming back. This was because of the rehabilitation of the canals that we have, and already it has been done. Garuma, Lankura, and Bunkure are now having it very good. Other dams that we have, the Kano State Agro-Pastoral Development Project is a project that is going to spend up to $200 million on that. And those dams, all of it are part of it. The Watari Dam is the first. Now, 4.2 billion is going to be done. About 4,000 hectares are going to be created for farmers. More than 10,000 people are going to benefit from that. And so Magaga, Guzuguzu, and other dams that we have are going to be done. The improved seeds, we have the oldest seed factory in the state done by Muhammad Abukarimi I personally traveled to UK, where I met the manufacturers of that machine, and they are bringing a computerized machine because that one is analog. Now they are going to bring a computerized one because the right seed is the first thing a farmer needs. And then the issue of fertilizer, that has been captured by reviving the Kano State Supply Company, which is Casco, which at the moment is producing.
Thank you, Excellency.
We are being able to serve our farmers with fertilizer.
Thank you. Engineer Bashir, so how do you hope to move agri forward beyond its present state in the state? Thank you.
Like my brother had said, previous governments have done what they could. Have they done something? Yes. Is it enough? It's nowhere near enough. And I will give you a graphic example for you to imagine. In the last 7 years, the Kano State government has spent budgeted 121,437,488 billion on education. It has spent 33.9 billion on agriculture. But in the same period, it has also spent 113 billion on health. But in those 7 years, it has budgeted 569.6 billion on roads and bridges. I want that to sink in. This gives you an insight into where the priority of these governments lie.
Thank you. Yes, I think you, for the question, how do you plan to move agri forward over the next 4 years in Kano State? Thank you.
Thank you. Steps to boost agriculture. 1, provision and usage of improved implements and tools. 2, employ modern irrigation techniques. 3, maintaining good animal health. 4, soil improvement. 5, crop and animal improvement. 6, crop protection. 7, better storage, processing and transportation methods. 8, standardized price control. 9, reintroduction of commodity boards. 10, extension services to ensure quality of products. 11, land availability for agriculture. 12, packaging and preservation standards. 13, use of agro-based loans by the government to encourage farmers. 14, more government programs to boost agriculture. 15, local awareness creation. And lastly, achieving agriculture and food security in the state. Very important. Thank you.
Thank you. So 2 issues have emerged from this round of questions, mainly that the current government has, the Deputy Governor, he reeled out an impressive area of the things that they have achieved over the past years in agriculture, including building 250 kilometers of roads that farmers can use to access markets, including the agro-pastoral project, including irrigation and dams project across the state that will benefit higher and above 10,000 people. So because the audiences both here and at home don't have the opportunity to speak, only the candidates can fact check and then also interrogate this. So I don't know if any 2 of the candidates want to take on this. That's one. And then second, he also raised, Engineer Bashir also raised the issue that 500 billion was spent on roads, whereas only 13 billion on agri and then even less on health, implying that you are spending more money on roads than on agri and health care. So you will, maybe you want to If you want to let it pass, that's fine. If you want to respond, that's also fine. 1 minute. Thank you.
Wherever he got his facts from. Yes. I'm coming to that. Wherever he got his facts from, this is now. And then the next one is when Allah has destined who is going to be the governor of Kano State. I am going to do it differently on agriculture. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, do you want to take on the 250-kilometer of the state? Okay, then we can move forward. Even though we have agreed that we will follow the alphabetical order, but I want to suggest, based on feelers also from audience members, that if you agree, the candidates, if we rotate the starting position of who speaks first, if you agree, then we can take it, so that I will take the initiative to try to balance who speaks first and who speaks last. Do we agree? Thank you very much. Thank you. So our final question on the economy now. In the past, Kano State was known as a hub of industries, which employed millions of people. However, in recent years, industries have collapsed, giving way to plazas for Chinese goods, according to some newspapers. How do you plan to revive industries and create jobs for young people, particularly in the state? So this time around, we'll be starting from our right, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Muhammad Abacha. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we all know, industries don't run on water, and industries don't run on anything else other than power. If you don't have power, you cannot run industries. The alternative that everyone uses today are generators. Generators are environmental hazards, and they don't give you what you require. You spend a lot. Today, diesel is at about 1,000 naira a liter. So it is impracticable for anyone to produce anything at that rate and make profit. So it's unfortunate, but that's the truth. You have to generate power and distribute it properly to the industries and everyone around to ensure that you create an economy. And an economy without power is not an economy at all. You can achieve an economy when you put power and you give all the indices and the requirements that will drive that economy into positivity, which will benefit everybody within the state and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, the candidate of the Labour Party, Engineer Bashir I. Bashir.
Like I mentioned earlier, power is critical. But the largest employer in Nigeria is the agricultural sector. The Southwest takes goods from here, rice, beans, corn, and all the other raw materials, and process it and brings it back here. Chicken are brought here. So once you address, in this table that I've taken from budget, the three critical areas just took 47%, while the roads and sector took the larger chunk of it. So if you dedicate this large chunk of money, it will be able to network the whole of Kano State with irrigation canals. And in each zone, you must put in agro-allied industries where you'll be able to process those goods and add value to it. Once you do this, you will employ thousands and hundreds of thousands of people. Like my brother here said, he only mentioned 3 local governments who are enjoying those irrigation canals now. So if you put the money that you are using in bridges and roads and make sure that the other local governments also have irrigation canals for off-season farming, I think Kano State can fill the whole of West Africa. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I think the issue of prioritizing this or that, I think everything in governance is very important. And the issue of industrialization, I have sat down with the market people, the business community of Kano State, and I have asked them, have they ever think, like people in Korea, have ever think of diversifying into, venturing into smaller factories in value chain addition of agriculture? Nobody has ever done that. And I have told them it's a simple thing. These Chinese people they are calling, they have a lot of factories. What do they use? And how do they make the money? We're talking about power. Power definitely is very, very important and key. But there are ways that you do that. Aspira, Mahmoud Group, the Lee Group, these Chinese, they are doing big business, but they don't rely on our power. And then we have over 230 rice mills in Kano. Why do we have them? What do they use? They use power. How do they use it? And they make money. So the business people have to come and sit down and venture into this. And why or how can they do that is by interacting with them, which we are doing at the moment. As Nasir Yusuf Gawuna, I have sat down with them severally. I have opened ways for them, and I have told them that by the time we do that, this is for the development of Kano State. You diversify. From trading, you go into small-scale industries. You employ youth. From there, you grow. When you grow, you can do your own independent power. And when you do that, you will make your own money, and you will be able to partner with the government.
Thank you.
Governance is about partnership. Like he said, we have to be transparent in whatever we do.
Thank you.
And we have to really come and partner together so that we can sustain and develop our state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for our guests once again. The candidates have been standing on their feet for nearly an hour now, so we have come to that point where we have concluded this round, and then we will take a short break. But before then, I can see a hand being raised by Engineer Bashir for a rebuttal or to make a response. 1 minute. Thank you.
I just wanted to respond positively to my brother here.
Yes.
I have been to China 15 times. And in China, you have Bank of Industry, you have Bank of Traders, you have Bank of Agri, you have Bank of Phone Servicing, all small banks that service. And China gives all their entrepreneurs a loan which is less than 1%, what they call concessionary loans. Now the challenge we have is not that our people are not industrious, but there are policies of government which deliberately alienate our traders from that. You cannot go to the market and compete with the Chinese who gets a soft loan of less than 1%, and he has a turnover of billions. When you go to the loan sharks in the banks and get 21, 22, 23%. So this is not the fault of the government, but I think there should be a deliberate policy framework, especially a legal framework, that makes sure that banks give these traders, a soft loan that can be able to address this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So would you like to say something about that? Thank you. Finally.
Thank you very much.
Now, as part of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening...
Now, looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, total volume of 130...
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the...
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
of efforts to support Africa's goal of strengthening.
Now looking at the activity chart, as you can see right here, a total volume of 130.
Created a Boko Haram crisis that at that time was restricted to Yobe.
How secure are they? You can see security men with blood.
This is the road leading up to the
Or really, if you look at England squad, you are looking at EPL, you are looking at their names. You are not looking at...
No, it's not. Okay, yeah, thank you.
One, two.
Thank you very much. Our break period is over, and in the next few seconds, we'll be inviting the candidates back up again. Can I go? 30 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back, Nigeria. We have come, our break has just ended, and we're now back to the second round of the debate on social policy and human development. I would like to invite the candidates in one fell swoop to get back to their respective podiums. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been sitting while the candidates have been standing. That is both a demonstration of their fortitude, but also their commitment to service, the service of their state and of their country. Please, a round of applause for them for that. Thank you. So we're back to the second round of this debate, where we focus on issues that have to do with social policy and human development, which complement economic development everywhere. We're starting with education. And here, my first question is this. According to the Business Day in August last year, it said that Kano State has the third highest population of out-of-school children in Nigeria, after Bauchi and Katsina states, with over 837,000 children that are of school age but who are not going to school. More than 60% of these are girls, and they are all out of school. How do you plan to reverse these sad statistics? Okay, thank you. So again, for this, you have 2 minutes for each answer and 1 minute for rebuttals. And this time, again, we go with, from our right as well, with Alhaji Muhammad Abacha, the candidate, governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Repeat the question again, please.
The question goes this. According to Business Day, in its August 2022 publication, it said that Kano State has the third highest population of out-of-school children after Bauchi and Katsina states. Over 800,000 kids in Kano are not going to school, and a large percentage of them, more than 60% of these, are females. How do you hope to reverse these statistics?
Thank you very much. Most importantly is education is very important for everyone. It is something that changes and makes society functional and progressive. Additional to it, it is said when you educate a girl, you educate a family, you educate society. It is most unfortunate that we have a lot of them out of school, but this is one of the reasons. I think education has been put at the back or at the end of the list, unfortunately, and it's supposed to be number one, because an educated society gives us all what we require to subsist and move forward. It gives us an employment capacity to build what we want. It gives us all the requirements that you need to build a family and build a better society. The infrastructure and the requirements to put girls in school is very important. God willing, if we come into government, we will make it a policy that all girls must come to school and do everything possible to ensure that funds are made available to improve the existing infrastructure, add more classrooms, bring in more educated teachers. The ones that are not very capable, send them back to teacher training and see how we can reduce that percentage to a substantial level. An educated society is what we all need, which unfortunately we don't have due to the lack of the previous governments to put time and a lot of resources into it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Engineer Bashir. The same question. How do you hope to reverse the statistics of having more than 837,000 school kids in Kano not going to school, 60% of whom are girls?
I have about 5 or 6 points here which I would like to read. Number one, we shall comprehensively review and overhaul all our schools across all tiers to minimum learning standards. This is to raise their quality and improve access to education for all. Number two, we will equip, train, and retrain all tertiary education institutions into world-class learning centers. I've always thrown punches at taking students abroad for studying, which for me is an escapist and unsustainable and self-defeatist policy. because you take students abroad, how many can you take? And how many students do those countries bring to our own tertiary institutions? At the same time, when you train them abroad, they come back here, they are coming back to the same institutions that you refuse to fund. You refuse to fund their researches. You refuse to build laboratories and workshops. Now, it also takes away much needed foreign exchange and provides room for corruption in obscure tuition and associated payment processes. We shall comprehensively review teachers' conditions of service, recruit already trained teachers, as well as embark in massive training of existing ones. We shall also introduce education levy bill. This is to fund the primary, secondary, and technical education where I come from, and to boost various trades and provide skilled artisans and craftsmen and women, which China and India now leverages on. I will introduce cost-effective home-based infrastructure, a technique of building classrooms that will provide conducive learning and teaching environment, and we shall reintroduce adult mass education centered mainly around basic literacy and skills acquisition. Thank you.
Your Excellency, Dr. Gauna.
Oh, well, thank you. First, let me start by saying there are approximately about 4 million primary school pupils in the state. This is so because of the population of Kano. And the issue of lack of education is not only in Kano, but in the whole of northern Nigeria. Kano, as the most populous, definitely has to take a larger chunk of that. But at the moment, after the introduction of the free and compulsory, the issue of compulsory just means that we have to come together, like the community-based education policy, that we have to come together with the community so that we can be able to sustain. The issue of education, particularly, all issue of governance is something that we have to come together to do it, but the issue of education is something that is more important that we have to do it. At the moment, there is, in the enrollment figure, we have achieved a lot. 52% of the enrollment at the moment is girls. So at least something has been achieved, awareness, and now girls are being more enrolled than the boys, because before, the girls are the ones that are suffering that. The female participation into senior secondary school is now 48%, higher than the 45% that we have. Why? Because when they finish primary school, there is the issue of marriages, there is the issue of discontinuity in the education and that. Then there is the creation of the Sangaya and Islamia board, which has an ES. And at the moment, we have over 3,000 Islamia schools. About 1.5 million pupils have been enrolled. All those ones that don't want to go to formal education, because we in Kano, in northern Nigeria, we have our own system of education even before the coming of the British government. And so we do that. We will also mobilize partners that will come and make sure that our secondary education, the curriculum, will make sure that we change it into technical base where skills will be attained using the system of science, technical, engineering, and mathematics methods that are being done. And then there is going to be the introduction of the ECCE, that is the early child care education. That will do it under the private partnership. That is a way that we will be able to encourage parents, because you have to sensitize them. You have to do that. Even when you said it's compulsory, you have to do that before they bring in their child into education. And when you do that, the necessary infrastructure, the teacher welfare, is something that we all have to look into. We'll continue looking into that. We have done that by training 25,000 teachers that we found are not qualified. But we did a partnership with the National Board of Technical Education, that is MBTE, and they were trained and now they are gainfully employed. But all up to that, we still have deficit, and those deficits are going to be
covered
with these plans that we have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Engineer Bashir, sir.
You see, I believe my brother here has very, very good intentions. And I believe if Allah gives him, he will do the best. However, what I want to stress here is that, like he said, I think all what these governments did in education is keep looking, like he said. Because, you see, anything that is free, there's a saying that the only place you find free cheese is on the mousetrap. Anything that is free is not valued, even for the person that is taking it. Ko aure ta aka ce za a yi ba da sadaki dan kankani. So when you say education is free, number one, is not sustainable because of the challenges of funding the education. No matter what I think any one of us that Allah gives should do is to subsidize education. And that is the only thing. You go to primary schools now, there are places you cannot get even chalk. But even if it is 20 naira or 100 naira or 500 naira, that you can be able to contribute, those monies that you collect can be able to buy basic requirements for the schools. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll come to okay, I thought, okay.
I quite agree with what he says, but what I want to tell him about the policy maybe that he has not gone deep into. The policy of free and compulsory education involves a lot of community participation. And that community participation is the subsidization. That is subsidizing the education. The Kano Jigawa, we had a program with both of us, a town hall meeting. They gave us their takes, and they are professionals, senior professionals of Kano State and Jigawa. Their take is that education can never be free. But what do you do? Now, if we said we make it free and then bring in the participation of the community, then we'll be able to subsidize the education. Thank you.
I think this part of the discussion actually preempted our follow-up question on this, because our follow-up question was to ask, what do you want to do about the idea of free education policy in Kano State? Not just Kano State, but northern Nigeria as a whole. It used to be an idea that people liked, but now a lot of people are saying maybe that's part of the problem, that we have got to that point where education can no longer be free, particularly at some level. So I don't know if Alhaji Muhammad Abacha, the candidate of the PP, has any comments on that so that we can move to the next issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Like my brother said, giving free education is like cheese in the mousetrap. But we have no choice but to try to educate society. It's a societal thing. It is everyone's entitlement. Government is duty bound to educate society. And that's the most fundamental and important part. Unfortunately, the funding is a problem, but like my brother said, the deputy governor, we have to look elsewhere. Whether we like it or not, we have to look elsewhere to get funding to educate our people, educate our kids, educate society completely. So the important part is, yes, we need to do that. The means to do it is very difficult, most importantly and most unfortunately now. But we have to devise alternative ways, alternative methods, and alternative funding that will augment and give all the support that is required. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So our next question. This is on women in particular, as a subset of our society. Some people have said that Nigeria is the world's capital of poverty, and that within Nigeria itself, the northern region is the poorest of the country. So if Nigeria is the capital of poverty in the world, then the north is probably the capital of poverty in the world. But even within northern Nigeria, women and young people happen to be the most disadvantaged. So what plans do you have specifically for empowering women and young people in the state? For this question, I start with the candidate of the Labour Party, Engineer Bashir I. Bashir. 2 minutes.
I lost my father while I was 16. And my mother had to sell her refrigerator at a point to pay my school fees. May her soul rest in peace. Women are the bedrock of the society. And once we have the opportunity, I think giving them education at home, like I said in the mass literacy, and giving them skills. Our women are highly industrious, if not better than us. Give a woman an opportunity to demonstrate her capability, and you'll be shocked. So make sure that funding, especially for rural and for the urban sector, is provided, and at the same time, we give them access to funding. Not the kind of funding that you have from NASAL or these other things that have been abused, but funding that goes directly. And for this, we intend to use the traditional institutions so that if you want something to reach the people, if you go through the traditional institutions, it will be monitored and it will be done effectively. That's number one. Number two, you make a deliberate policy in the government. It's not now about affirmative, but making sure that you get intelligent, smart-working, hard-working women into parastatals and government so that they can also mentor the young ones in the universities and in the colleges of education, as well as technical education. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Dr. Gauna.
Yes, the issue of women development, what we intend to do or continue to do is, like we have 44 women centers in the 44 local government of Kano State, and they have all been rehabilitated at the moment. We have the mass education centers, and at the moment Kano State is #1 in terms of mass education in Nigeria. And women comprises of over 70% of those that are participating in the issue of mass education. So we'll continue sensitizing them. We'll continue encouraging them to come be educated, use the women centers in skill acquisition. We have tried that in the aspect of agriculture. There is the program that we call Youth and Women Empowerment Program, in a program that is appeals. And that appeals, at the moment we have trained over 6,000 youth and women, and it's on 50% basis. And on follow-up, before, when you empower them, you will find out they will sell whatever you give them, but with proper follow-up, with proper monitoring and evaluation, we have been able to set up these small-scale industries for them in poultry, fisheries, production, and even in tomato production. It's basically done to only women. We have constructed over 1,500 greenhouses, and it's all women that are doing that practice, and they are gainfully employed. And when we did the monitoring and evaluation, we find out the women are 90% compliant than even the youth. The youth are 80% compliant at the moment. 20% definitely you find out they have some of their misdeeds and what have you. Some is natural, but the women are doing great. And so we'll continue to empower them and do more to them so that they will be able to be self-employed. And when women are self-employed, definitely the whole family will be a natural one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. The candidate of the PDP, Alhaji Muhammad Abacha, please.
Women are the foundation of the family, and we need everything to make sure that they are busy to keep the family together. Most unfortunately, if you don't train the woman, when the man is not there or when she loses the husband, they all become despondent and they become liability, unfortunately, to the extended family. So government has to create a deliberate policy to support women, to educate them, to give them avenues for skill acquisition. They need to be busy within the urban areas and also within the rural areas. They need to learn to fend for themselves, to support themselves, and also augment for the family, most importantly for the husband. Unfortunately, looking at the times we live in today, you need all hands on deck to support the family and by extension, the society together. So there has to be a deliberate policy by government to create avenues where they will engage women positively to support society. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So do we have any responses? Okay, yes.
Yeah, addition to what my brother Mohammed has said, is like the recently commissioned Dangote Skill Acquisition Center, which has over 20 trades that are being trained, is 40% women and 60% youth, and they are all being trained. And there is the training that is also being considered as something that is not good for our girls. That is in issue of mechanics, refrigeration, air conditioning of the vehicles, panel beating. Our girls have been trained, both youth and girls, at the PAN, that's Peugeot Automobile, Nigeria. From 2016 till date that we've started, we intended to train 1,000 youth on that, and alhamdulillah, we have achieved that. This is something that will, inshallah, continue to do that. The last batch of the youth that are coming out, so I agree with Mohammed on the issue of youth acquisition centers, skill acquisition centers across the state. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So we have just about 20 more minutes to the end of the entire event, but I would like to speak in response to questions that audience members were raising, of whether or not they will be allowed to ask questions. I'm sorry, this is a candidate media event only. We want to thank our audiences for being here and for participating through raising their questions and answering the questionnaires in the first instance. But audience members will not be asking any questions in this event, and they will not be having their questions answered, just to make it clear to everyone before we get to the end. Thank you. So our next question. In Kano State, water supply has become a major challenge, both in urban centers, but also in the rural areas. This has affected not only drinking water, but also impacted on issues like sanitation. So, and refuse collection and clean environment more generally. So how do you intend to address this problem? How do you intend to address the problem of water supply, adequate water supply, and environment in Kano? Yes, we go to you again, Engineer Bashir Bashir.
You see, like we always say, once you think within the box, you continue to do something and you will get the same result over and over again. We were just discussing when we took a break here. I visited about 3 countries Egypt, China, and India while I was contesting for governorship in 2015, specifically to see how they are doing their agriculture and rural water supply. And India alone harvests over 300 million liters in each province during the rain harvest. And now this is an area where we have not really looked at to see how we can be able to capture. Chalawa alone hosts 93 million cubic meters of water, which is virtually not used. Now, once you have a power plant that can be able to power a pumping station, what you need to do is to make sure that you have sources that can be able to complement the traditional supply that we have. And majorly the networking of the piping that we have, they have completely become obsolete and unserviceable. So we'll make sure that we will have a private-public partnership to boost that. To this, I want to give credit to the Kano State government. I think they have done a pilot project in Wudil, which is now functional. And I think to that regards, it's something that we can be able to build on that. Thank you. This also helps in terms of sanitation. We will make sure that we construct effluent treatment plants in all the tributaries where all the waters come, because that's why you have cholera, you have typhoid fever, and the rest. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. No, not to this way first. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Portable drinking water is very important for everyone, and also we need water for agriculture. Water is fundamental because they say water is life. It gives everyone its requirement. Like my brother said, I think from what I heard, the 10 megawatts power system that has been done in Tiga is meant to support the Tambrawa water system and also, I think, augment the requirement in Kano, which is very commendable. But we need more than that. A lot of people in Kano still buy water, unfortunately. We don't have water in pipelines that are being distributed everywhere. So it is fundamental and important that more water treatment plants are built to augment the existing ones. We have over 20 million people in Kano State and about 10 million people, I think, within the Kano Central Metropolis. They need water. It is with water you can have good, proper sanitation and a lot more. So I think it's important that that is done. When you talk about sanitation, environmental sanitation, we intend, God willing, to see how we can build waste-to-energy plant. A waste-to-energy plant is what helps to take refuse from one point to another and to take it to the plant to generate power and also to generate additional revenue for the state and to keep the environment clean. If you have a clean environment, you have a healthy environment, you have a healthy society, you have a healthy list and number of children that go to school, and your health bill will definitely reduce and the society will progress better. So building a waste-to-energy plant will assist tremendously because this is what we need. Kano produces about 3,000 to 4,000 tons of waste daily. So taking it out to a waste-to-energy plant will help sanitize the environment properly and will give a lot of our younger ones and our kids jobs to do also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes, the APC candidate and Deputy Governor, Dr. Gauna.
Thank you, and Alhamdulillah for the spirit that all the candidates have for the issue of development in Kano State. I am really impressed, and I'm sure, inshallah, whoever is going to get the mantle of this leadership, Kano State, inshallah, will see development. At the moment, we have over the combined water installations in Kano is over 680 million combined liters per day. And then the water demand is about 900 million liters. You see, we have a deficit of almost 300 million liters. And at the moment, what we are able, or the operational capacity of all is at 50%, which means 300 million liters. And that is why the issue of the PPP comes about. Woodil has taken over, and then the Joda will soon be also, MOU will be signed. And by the time we do that, in no time we'll be able to build the capacity of the 600 million at the moment, over 600 million. And then there is a development, or there is an agreement with the French government, which we have already finished, we have signed. We are just waiting for the money. Reticulation and additional water systems are going to be done, whereby we will have up to 1 billion liters of water, which means we will surpass our required needs with 100 million liters excess. By that time, inshallah, the power system has improved. There is going to be a lot of industries that will require that water, because industries take a lot chunk of the water that we produce than the households. And the issue of power, just like I've been mentioned, the Tiga power is mainly for the Tambrawa and the street lights in the state. And he has spoken about the issue of sanitation. The waste generated in Kano is 8,000 metric tons per day. Well, we can only evacuate 5,000. We have a deposit of 3,000. We are looking at a way that we'll do partnership with people, private organizations, that will be able to evacuate the waste first before we go into generation. That has been done severally. I have never seen a state in Nigeria that have succeeded in that. But with experts that are into energy, our local expert, like Engineer Bashir, will be able to do something like that. They will advise, they will say this is how it's going to be done, and then we'll see how we can turn that waste into energy. Thank you.
Any rebuttals or further comments before we move to the final round of questioning? Okay, thank you very much. So our very final question now. In Nigeria, population management has been a controversial issue. But the rate at which Nigerian population has been growing has got to the stage where governments and prospective leaders can no longer escape the issue of population management, because we've got a point where the population growth is outstripping infrastructural development, is outstripping funding available, and all of that. So I will not ask about your plans for population management in Kano, but what are your thoughts on this issue on a more general level? And how do you think it applies to a place like Kano? Thank you very much. Again, I start with Engineer Bashir so that we balance it 3-3.
You see, my brother here is very smart. He said, I will advise. And that implies a lot. You see, when you say you can, you can. And if you say you cannot, then you cannot. Population is a plus when you manage it properly. And it's a minus when you mismanage it. If you take India as a case study, you take China, they are doing wonderfully well. Number one, because they educate the population. Number two, because they make sure there is skills acquisition and everybody is gainfully employed. So for me, I think the issue of managing the population should be on the economic side, not on the developmental side. Once you have a country that has 300 million in Africa, we become a force to be reckoned with. In the next 20 years, Nigeria is projected to be the third largest country in the world. And this is part of all the security challenges that we are having from external forces. So I think what we should do is to manage our population and make sure that there's a trickle-down effect of the resources, and you have the financial inclusion of all sectors and all strata of the people. Once people are gainfully employed, I think our population will be a plus. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, thank you, and I will follow suit with Engineer Bashir. The issue of population, if managed very well, is going to be an asset. It's only a liability if it is not being managed properly. I would rather manage it because of many factors: my religion, my tradition, and my values. I would rather manage it to be an asset than to think otherwise. And I think all these things that we have stated, if we are going to do it, as it has been said, good governance, transparent, and we do it with all sincerity, inshallah, we'll be able to make our population to be a positive one, and it will be an asset. So I rest my case on that. Thank you.
You have the last say, sir.
Thank you very much. Like it is said, population is an asset when properly utilized and properly used. We don't share the concept or the European concept of controlling population. God Almighty has put us here for a good reason, and we are here to satisfy God Almighty's religious and human demands. Population is a positive thing when it is used properly. We have a lot of youths. Over 60% of population in Nigeria and also in Kano are young and agile and functional. They need a lot of work to do, and we need to find them jobs to do. We need to keep them busy from early in the morning till late in the evening. By doing that, you are building a better society, you are improving security, you are bringing better education, and you are putting all hands on deck to ensure that the society revolves, functions, and benefits itself. So population is a plus. In Africa, and particularly in Nigeria, everyone looks at us. Why? They are envious of Nigeria because of the population. Over 200 million people within a 923,000 square kilometer radius is positive. And we just need to improve on the positivity, because God Almighty has given us everything we need to subsist, to function, to flourish, and there is prosperity everywhere. Thank you very much.
You might as well keep the mic, because we have come to the very final section of this debate, where each candidate has 1 minute to give a closing statement. In your closing statement, you can speak not just about this debate or about the election in Kano, but about the state of the nation and the election itself that we're expecting as a country. Thank you. 1 minute.
Thank you very much. Well, we are all witnesses to what has happened in the last 7, 8 to 10 years, I would say, but most importantly in the last 7 years. We have had a raw deal, we have had an unfortunate situation where everything has degenerated to the worst. Insecurity, the issues that have brought us here, education, health, the infrastructure that we need to function, and everything that you, like I said earlier, to feed your family today is a Herculean task. Rice, which was 7,000, 8,000 naira, today is over 30,000 naira, unfortunately. So it is important for everyone to look inwards and to be realistic. It is unfortunate, but it is good. We have all learned a very, very interesting and good lesson in the past few years. So I think it is important we bring in new people, new faces, to now take charge and bring in functional ideas outside the normal issues of government to bring prosperity to our people. By God Almighty's grace. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Engineer Bashir I. Bashir, Labour Party.
Thank you. I will use this opportunity to thank the organizers of this occasion. And I will also use this opportunity to appeal to the people of Kano State that on this podium, they have 3 of their best candidates. And whoever here emerges the governor, personally, I've made a commitment to hand over my proposals of whatever needs to be done, especially on agriculture, power generation, and health development. And I believe all of us are capable of doing that. Nigeria is at a crossroad, and people should de-emphasize political parties at both national and subnational levels. They should look at candidates, their capacity, their capability, their exposure, resilience, and their competence. And once we overlook political parties and look at the candidates who can be able to deliver, most importantly, somebody who will be firm and fair, I think Nigeria has a long, long, long way to go, and our prosperity will be limitless. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor.
Alhamdulillah, while appreciating the organizers, I appreciate my colleagues, the gubernatorial candidates, those that are here and those that are not here. There are other political parties, like he said, that are contesting. And he has said it all. There is no need for me to repeat, I think, what he has said. What I will do is a final prayer. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deliver Kano State to the best person that will be able to deliver development to the people of Kano State. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much, Nigerians. Thank you very much, our audience here. And thank you so very much, our candidates for the governorship election in Kano State. Alhaji Muhammad Abacha, the candidate of PDP in Kano State. Thank you. Engineer Bashir I. Bashir, candidate of Labour Party for Kano governorship election. Thank you. Also, Dr. Nasir Yusuf Gawuna, the deputy governor currently, and also candidate for the governorship election for APC in Kano State. Thank you for coming. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your patience with us when we visited you earlier to talk about this with you. It has been interesting to have you here to share your ideas with the people of Kano State, but also with Nigerians at large. And we wish you all the very best in this election and beyond. Thank you, everyone. Please, a group picture follows immediately, please. Group picture, please.